Okay, so let's look at the 13 commandments that I have here. I have different amounts of commandments every time. I mean, it's, you know, I'm not Moses. This is just to show you that even though I'm Jewish, I'm not him, okay? So I'm not that big and important. So first thing that I recommend you guys think about it. Anywhere you go, anywhere where people are, anywhere where you network, where you synergize, whoever you meet, stop looking for clients. I know it sounds crazy, but I've been through this, and I've been forced to do this way, and I found the water. Stop looking for clients. It's a huge mistake. One, you stop looking for clients, you get them all the time. Forget everything else. I mean, once you're not looking for clients, they're all over you. Second, when you're looking for leverage instead of clients, when you get the leverage, every one of those, you spend the same time with a leveraging CPA that you would spend with a client anyway. It's the same type of sale. You sell yourself and your abilities. But once you get this one, you've got the leverage for life. You got all the book to work on. And you know, sometimes I'm asked, well, you're so smart with CPAs. How many do you have already? And for 4 or 5 years, first 4 or 5 years in this country, I couldn't say more than one. I only answer, how many do you think I need? The first 4 years were all about John Betts' 800 clients. I was lazy. I kid you not. I stopped calling. Why would I call? You know, every one of those meetings, I was the super advisor. I didn't need anything anymore. At some point, they have a limited book of business. So even though you work for a long term, and every client, and John once in a while gets some money, and he goes, what is this from, Tibi? You know, he doesn't know because I keep working 3 years later. I got a 401k rollover. You know how it works. And all of a sudden he gets paid. You go, my gosh, Tibi, you know, this is like, it's heaven. It produces money. Nothing like it. But we need to work for it, and we need to plan for it. Forget the word referrals. This is imperative. Never, ever, ever mention that word. There are words that become bad words. You know, Dick was once a good name for a guy. That was a joke as well. You know, I must speak bad English here, so. The word referral hints to something that really became, I'm after your book. Why don't you, you know, give me some names. You know, let me have the list. The list. That's referrals. Plus, it's reciprocal in nature. So what it indicates is, hey, let's refer to one another and have alliances. I'm not into alliances. Don't misunderstand me. Those are not alliances. Those are partnerships. We work the same book and share revenue. It's not, I'm good, you're good, let's refer to one another. No, I need the ones that don't want referrals, remember? So forget the word referrals. If your doctor says, I have someone here that does knees, can he look at your knee? That's not a referral. He calls him in and says, hey, look at his knee. He does knees all day. Is that a referral? No, it's not. He's his partner of the office. You know, look at his knee. That's what he does. TB knows this part better than I. You know, I want you to meet TB. That's it. Now, it sounds simple. It takes a couple of years for CPAs. First appointment, it's always very recommended, first appointment with a client at their office, at the CPA's office. Being invited and then being introduced. John got to the point where he didn't even tell him I was there. He just said, oh, I happen to have TB here. Hey, you know, you guys meet one another. I think you can benefit from your contact. And at first, I had some very interesting encounters when I asked John beforehand, when did you visit this client last? 25-year client. He says, never. He never went to their home, or he never went to their place of business even. I said, may I offer you come with me on the first appointment? He says, sure. You should have seen the client's face. Picks up the phone, says, honey, guess who's coming? John! Wow. The excitement, do you think it's a good idea to bring him over? He was with me. It was in the first appointment at their office only for the purpose of being introduced. That's all. The only question I asked at that is, I'm a very good student of what's important about money to you the Bill Backrack way. So the only question that I ask at that point of meeting is, what's important about money to you? That's all. Okay? So just for you to get the picture. None of...
So other than use referral, what word would you say? Partnership? Is that the word you were...
Well, I want to be introduced. That's not a referral. I want to be introduced, recommended, highly recommended and introduced. So I know it's hard.
Changing the terminology.
Yes, and the terminology makes us tick. That's what gets our picture in the head of what's going on. So when you say referrals, there's a conception going on of one sort. And let me tell you, I tried many times when John said, you know, this guy's great, no problem. Here's his name, here's his phone number, he's waiting for your call. And I called, and I got very disappointed. Not the same. And so I tell the CPA, I need 10% of the work done by you. That means your voice at first. That means you at first. You come show me where to drill, okay? Do not slack, because that's a lot of money, $200,000. It's at least worth one appointment, okay? One introduction. It's not the same power when John says, come over. And when I say, John said, come over. It's not the same.
Therefore, the meeting at the office.
Exactly. Very recommended. Now, it doesn't work 100%. Nothing works 100% of the time, you guys. You understand that. So, you know. Now, this is very important before I get the questions about the big firms. Have big dreams with small CPAs. Is that enough to understand? I mean, pretty clear. Leave the big firms, because if it takes 2 to 4 years for a normal CPA to decide to go with you and what to do, it'll take 10.5 years in those. By the time all the partners decide in their meeting whether to do or not to do, you know, and they have 100 wolves on their heads every day, you don't want that. You want the one practitioner that you can work vis-a-vis, you know. And I got, by the way, John has another practitioner in the same office I've been trying to work with for 9 years now, and I couldn't. And he's in the same building, and John keeps showing him and telling him he wants it. He really, and it doesn't work. So it's very much a matter of personal contact and, you know, being compatible. So don't go for the big ones, because the big ones will drain you out. Look for the one, of course, that need more income, not more work. We've been through that. Leave the licensing discussion for later. I know we have this tendency sometimes to flush all the skeletons, get them out of the closet immediately, and try to make it happen immediately. Licensing is a matter of time and effort, and you know, I have enough work as it goes. I don't feel that does anything for me at this point. So like we said, leave it to the end, just like Jerusalem, when you deal with the Palestinians. By the way, I don't know if you know this one, but we have peace talks going on now, you know, for the 250, you know, times. And I remember Netanyahu used to be Israel's ambassador to the UN way before, like 20 years ago. And one day he stands there for the assembly and starts his speech. And he says, you know, I want to tell you a story that happened 2,000 years ago in Israel. When Jesus, it was a very hot day, and he walked along by himself next to the Jordan River. And it was so hot, just like the few days we've had now in San Diego, that he decided to undress. He was by himself and jump into the cool water. And there came a Palestinian and stole all of his clothes. So the Palestinian delegate comes up, stands up and says, "Come on, you know, you liar, there were no Palestinians back then." He goes, "Well, once we settle that, we can continue."